We are here with Sarah Check All-Star for TABC, Yonatan Faber. Yonatan, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ellie. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. As we all know, TBC won tier two in Sarah Check, and Yonatan, not to be critical here, but you did not have your best game of the season against Jewish culture. However, you rebounded quite well, and in fact, you were an all-star nonetheless. How are you able to rebound, both you personally and as a team, losing against culture, and then obviously crushing, not crushing, but beating a bunch of really good teams such as Bourbon and Ida Crown in tier two?
Well, I think the culture game was tough for us because, they were really they were really big, and I would think we definitely struggled with that. And I mean, we tried to be physical, but I think unfortunately, I think in the end they were just too physical for us. But then I think we kind of took that physicality and we just applied it to tier two, which we kind of went up against smaller teams. Not like, I mean, the teams are still talented, but it's kind of the first time the entire season where we've kind of had size over teams, and we really dominated, and that we showed that.
Yeah, so obviously, last year was a big accomplishment for you, winning the entire Sarachek tournament. And obviously, the goal going into this tournament, the goal was always to win the whole thing. Uh, but now, when you look back on it, I mean, obviously, the team had a bad taste in their mouths after the first round exit to SAR in the playoffs. Um, but obviously nobody ever wants to win tier two, but do you think people have a better taste in their mouths about the season after beating impressive teams like Eula, Berman, Ida Crown? Do you think the group is feeling better in terms of how their careers ended? The
Yeah,
seniors in
100%.
particular?
I think, yeah, I definitely think I think it's not like a high like winning tier one, but it's definitely a high to end your Yeshiva League career on a win. And even, I mean, and like the teams were still like the teams in tier two were still like very impressive, I thought. And it's not tier one, but I think it's better than losing on Friday.
Um, Jonathan, you now finished 4 years of high school playing Yeshiva League ball. What's really been like one of your highlights of the best moment looking back in Yeshiva League basketball? You won JV championship, Sarah Check championship.
I mean, probably, yeah. I mean, last year Sarachek was unreal. I mean, the whole season was great. The guys were great. Even this year also. One specific highlight, just things like the grind of like all the practices, honestly. Like day in, day out. Honestly, yeah.
Talk about two of your teammates for us. Yost Khan and Naf Hochstein, guys who really did not have roles on the team last year. And those guys really became ballers over the course of the year, especially the Sarachek weekend. Um, did you have total confidence in them that they will really step into big roles this year and be able to really contribute alongside with you and Akiva Borgen?
I mean, if you would have asked me last year after junior year, after the season, I probably would have said no, but I mean, I mean, they put in the work, like, and they prove themselves, and yeah, and now, I mean, I guess senior year, yeah, I wouldn't want anyone else.
So, as opposed, how do you feel it was different as from last year? We were playing with more of a mix of seniors and juniors, as opposed to this year, where you're really just playing with not really just, but the vast majority of players were guys from your grade with not so much junior impact. Did that make a difference in game plan? Yeah.
I don't think it made such a big difference. I mean, it just means that we just had less help, but I mean, Rafi and Sammy definitely stepped up this year and definitely proved that they could play.
Yeah, so that's a good segue into our next question. How do you feel you're leaving the program? Do you feel you're leaving in good hands? With Sammy and Rafi being the senior leaders next year, alongside a very strong JV core that's moving up that got all the way to the finals.
Yeah, I definitely think the program's in good hands. I mean, between all the juniors right now, I think are incredibly talented, I think, and the sophomores now also. I think it's going to be a year of doubt again, like how we were doubted this year by a lot of people, and I think TBC might be doubted also, but I think they're gonna just like we always do now. We're just gonna prove everyone wrong. I mean, I mean the juniors are they're great, and the sophomores it's gonna be a dogfight for who's gonna get minutes. I think.
Yeah. So talk to us too about Coach Avery Stepner and how great of an addition he was to the staff, in addition to Coach Honig and Coach Oz.
Coach Avery is probably the best hire TVC's made in the past since OG, since OG's been hired.
Wow,
Uh,
that's a compliment.
he's really the best scout. I mean, he's so chill, and he knows ball.
Yeah. So,
And
so, so Sarachek was actually not your last experience representing TVC basketball. You had the opportunity to be an all-star for a second time in the Yeshiva League Pass All-Star game in Flatbush in Brooklyn. What was that experience like for you again, being able to represent the school?
But that was great. I don't think it should have been the day after Sarachek. I mean, a lot of the guys were. It was like 6 games in 6 days.
Yeah, I'm not
Crazy.
gonna lie. It was really weird seeing Moshe Cohen and Zach Tuckman
Yeah,
coaching
yeah,
against each other less than 24 hours after the Sarachek photo.
yeah. There might have been some tension there between the coaches. I don't know. Um, no, not actually. I was just joking, but I hope they don't see this. Um, but yeah, I mean, that was. I mean, oh shoot. Hello.
we can
Yeah,
hear
you're
you. We
still
can hear
here?
you.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
My iPad. Okay. Um, yeah, that was just it was just like a fun last game, kind of like with all the guys around the league that I've been going up against the last 4 years. I think it was a nice way to end it, even though we lost. So technically, I ended my season on a loss, but I mean, not really. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I have
Orion, if
one
you
more
want to take,
question. Ellie, you have any others before I ask my
no, you
final
can take it
question?
with flag football.
Yeah, so your athletic career actually at TBC is not over. You are an honorary member of the first ever TABC flag football team. How's that season been going? I think once this episode is released, you'll have played two more games tonight, so we're not able to advertise fans coming out to tonight's two games at Votee. But if you want to talk to us about that too, feel free.
Flag football is great. I mean, Coach Semsky and Coach Wanger, all great coaches. I mean, we got practice on Friday. Good group, a lot of fun. You got the best quarterback in the league, best in Shy Bonner, I think, without a doubt. And we're coming for Frisch and SAR.
Wow.
Hey, you don't have any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my coach Ainsworth. He really, everyone thinks he's like a hype up man, and but he really got me to where I'm at over the years. I just want to give him a thanks. I don't know if he's gonna see this. Maybe I'll send this. Maybe you could clip this so that I can send it to him.
Yeah, would have loved to have seen
Sure.
more of him this year. And hopefully this isn't the end of Yonatan Faber playing competitive basketball. We look forward to seeing more hopefully in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hey,
Of
Yonatan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And Hakasha Sameh.
course, thank you guys so much for having me. Talk some
Sure.
more.
Okay.
All right, so you want to plug our sponsors?
Yes. Thank you so much to Hustle and Heart for sponsoring the Stormcast. Um, Hustle and Heart Sports is an elite athletic company designed to encourage and support athletes in reaching their goals. On June 22nd to the 24th, they'll be partnering with the HAL PTA to host a 3-day basketball camp for boys from third grade to eighth grade, which will feature experienced Yeshiva League and Hustle and Heart coaches. Other events include the Summer Girls Sleepaway Basketball Camp and the Boys Sleepaway Camp at La Vie, where fifth through 12th graders can learn from top basketball coaches, compete with top Yeshiva League players, and develop friendships for life. Sorry. Um, Hustle and Heart just hosted the Yeshiva League girls All-Star Varsity game, where Team Yeshiva League took on national Jewish players at SAR. I am not sure who won that game. Ogren, if you know who won that game, let me know.
Couldn't tell you.
I
My
do not
friend
follow.
Josh Wazotsky from
I
SAR, I think he would know because I think he announced the game.
Okay, I do not follow girls Yeshiva League basketball, so I don't know that. But either way, Hustle and Heart made that happen. So shout out to Hustle and Heart. And they're also running a middle school girls Yeshiva League All-Star game at Yeshiva Hatid on May 17th. And to round things off, Hustle and Heart finished their first girls seminary league where TVA beat MMY in the finals. Once again, thank you to Hustle and Heart for not only making this podcast happen, but also for all these great events. To sign up for any of these, click the link in the description of the video. Oren, how you doing today? We just had a great interview with Yonatan Faber, heading into Pesach.
Yeah, listen, this is our pre-Pesach episode. I think we had one last year too, where we released. I think it was with Eyal Kinderler actually.
It
So
was a day out. It was a day out.
the bar is still at a high level with Yonatan Faber. Um, yeah, we're saying goodbye to winter sports on this show. But there's still plenty of athletics to go, even after this episode drops. And I assume we are going to recap Sarachek and recap a little spring sports.
Yeah. So
By the
start things
way,
off.
not to interrupt your train of thought, but I think you might want to, if you're hosting on a phone, you might want to rotate it because you're a little sideways right now.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. Okay,
There
just
we
a
go.
second.
Oh, you had
Is
it.
that
Oh,
better?
yep, we're good.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay. Um, to start things off, we had the Red Sarachek tournament. TBC won tier two. After losing to Jewish Culture Thursday night, they defeated Sky High in dominating fashion on Friday. Defeated Ulaw and Motse Shabbos. One last pit for the boys. It was an epic pit. Sunday they defeated Berman in the semifinals. And Monday, I apologize. They defeated Ida Crown, and I was there. Shout out to Oren for
A
excusing
senior
me.
pit with Ellie Hochberg.
Yes. Fitting way to end it. Fitting way to end it. Uh, the amount of people who think I'm a senior is shocking. But I'm not a senior for anyone watching. Even Coach Honig thought I was a senior. Shout out Coach Honig. He thought it was my last game I was going to. But Oren, take us through Sarachek a little bit. Your thoughts on the games and just about the final run for these guys such as Yonatan Faber and Akiva Borgen.
Yeah, so listen, I was in the locker room after they lost to Jewish Culture, and I think everybody had their heads down. They were very upset with the way it ended. But I think you have to give a lot of credit to them, the way they just kept plowing through with the rest of the games on their schedule. I mean, Sky High was always going to be an easy outing, but three impressive wins over Eula, Berman, and Ida Crown, three tier one caliber teams who dropped down to tier two. Berman featured one of, if not the best player in the tournament in August, and they stifled him in the entire second half. They made life hard for him. So, yes, we have higher standards in terms of we wanted to win the entire thing. We were going in as the defending Sarachek champions, having won the entire thing last year. Having said that, though, yes, we're not going to parade around a tier two victory, but I would say with all the ups and downs this particular group had throughout the season, tier two is something this group can be proud of for
100%.
their personal in terms of their personal ambitions, in my opinion. After having lost in the first round to SAR, I think for them they can be satisfied with how they did this weekend.
100%. As you said, just like what you said, we beat a lot of good teams. People forget the defending back-to-back defending Yeshiva League champions and the current Sarachek champions. DRS were a tier two champion with a lot of the same core that they had in their Sarachek and their
They
Yeshiva
didn't
League
even
winning
win tier two
championship.
last year. They lost in the final to North Shore.
No, I'm saying 2 years ago.
Oh,
Two
all
years
right.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying, yeah, tier two. And last year, you're right. The Yeshiva League champions lost in tier two, and they were trying. It wasn't a joke. It's tier two was no joke, and these guys should seriously be proud of themselves. Of course, it's not tier one, and we're not going to pretend like it's tier one. We're not going to celebrate it like crazy, but it's an accomplishment nonetheless, and it's a great way for these seniors to go out, and a great springboard for these juniors who honestly played pretty well throughout Sarachek to go into their next year having something under their belt.
Agreed.
Okay, you want to talk a little bit about the All Star game? Ezra Adams, MVP of the JV All Star game or
Yeah, unfortunately I
JV
couldn't be
Western.
there, but I think the West won the JV game, which I guess is good when the defending champs were Mag and David out of the other conference. I'm going to assume that that All-Star team was Mag and heavy, and I guess the players surrounding the Mag and players were not as strong, so maybe that's
Well, I
why.
think there's only three Magan. I think three Magan guys. So they wanted to have one guy from
Right, and I think
everything.
one of them was injured, right?
Yeah, one of them was injured, so I think it was
Right.
only
So yeah, we had Tani
Cher.
Stein and Ezra Adams representing us. Adams got MVP. Um, Listen, Adams is going to be a star off the bat in varsity next year. I think he's going to dominate the league already as a junior. I think he could have dominated the league this year, frankly, as a sophomore.
I saw Isaac
Um,
Sender do it.
right. But you know, I think he got to the championship game as a sophomore in JV, and hopefully that'll make him stronger for the varsity level rather than playing varsity as a sophomore, and who knows how far the team. Oh, and you're gone. Yeah, so I think I personally think it was the right move for Ezra to stay in JV, and if he had moved up to varsity, I think he would have made us better. But you know, would we have gotten any further than the first round against SAR? I don't know. It's like I said to a lot of people, and I think I was consistent on this throughout the year. I really believed that this DRS team was that good and nobody was going to beat them, and I think I ended up being right.
Yeah, I mean, just shout out to Sarachek like the Sarachek. I mean, lot of chalk, but it was overall very good Sarachek. I think, as you're right, 100% right. It was good for Ezra Adams to get that experience and be able to get that championship game. Shout out to Noah Kessler, our former producer, who had a very smart, very true comment that this Frisch team next year is going to have so much pressure to win a championship. Why? Because they didn't win a championship as sophomores, which they probably would have if Isaac Sentner was on that team.
They didn't even
And
play in the champion. They didn't even get to the championship game.
they lost to Flatbush in the semis. I'm saying if they were with Studner, 100, I think they were 100% going to win that championship. There's not doubt in my mind they would win that championship. Um, and there's going to be a lot of pressure. I think the same thing would have gone for Adams. I mean, we didn't win the championship, but if that senior year for him, there would have been a lot of pressure. So being able to just play JV for 2 years, go on the normal path, I think is going to be beneficial in the long run. And shout out Ezra, he's a dog. He's probably the best player in the league right now, JV this past year, and he's really just incredible. Shout out Tani as well. Shout out Faber. So, any other comments on winter sports? Do we have an update on when the Violet tournament is, or
The Byler tournament, I believe, is Thursday, April 23rd, and then Sunday, April 26th. It's only 2 days. There's no Shabbaton involved, only games on Thursday and Sunday, and I believe it's one game elimination. Um,
oh, interesting? That's a different
not
format than in past years.
It's not such a strong field, to be honest. There's no SAR, there's no DRS. Frisch, I
SAR's not
believe
participating.
I believe will be in it. Hank's in it. I think those are the only solid teams. And Frisch, we don't even know if the ice guys are going to play, so only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's honestly going to be a good test to see. Um, I kind of don't want the Ice Guys to play this one because obviously we got destroyed by them in the championship, or not destroyed, but we lost significantly. And also just to see what I think this our team could have beaten them without the Ice Guys. But not to harp on that too long. I guess to move on to spring sports, we are 10-1 in spring sports, I believe. It's been a highly successful spring sports season. We'll start off with volleyball, who pulled off a massive upset, beating the defending champions, I believe, Ramaz um, at home, going on the road to Frisch, who I think gave us trouble last year. I don't remember if we beat them or not,
I think it
and
was our
defeating
first
them.
time ever this year beating Frisch in volleyball. I think our first 2 years as a program, we didn't beat Frisch.
Yeah, so and then we beat Kushner. So 3-0 with two
4-0,
very impressive
4-0. We beat
4-0.
DRS at the
Yeah,
greenhouse.
surprise, 4-0. Forgot about that. Halfway through the season with a bunch of impressive wins already, and I think this team could go on a run. Shout out Jogo. Maybe we'll have him on afterwards. And we didn't want to have two guests today, so Jogo, Gabe Melnikov, Eden Addy, Marcel Kreisman, all really getting
D-Rats,
close to
Norm
DRS, of
Simon,
course.
great addition.
So you want to talk about the team a little bit and those wins? Um,
Yeah, listen, they have a lot to be proud of. It's not easy when your coach, tells you a few weeks before the season that he's not going to be coming back, and you have to scramble to find a new coach. So shout out to Coach Jack Voistock. Has the guys believing, has the guys competing at a high level. They actually their first ever set of the season, they lost to DRS, and they had some jitters, but they were able to pull it together, and then ended up winning the next three. The Ramaz game was intense. As someone who does the scoreboard for all the home games, my heart was pounding after every point. I think you watched the stream at the very end. Ramaz are the defending three-time champs, and it was just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I think the final score in the fifth set was 24-22. You have to win by two.
yeah,
And I think, people were just going nuts after. And the first match the night after, less than 24 hours, it also went the distance. And that was crazy. And they played Kushner today. That was in straight sets. That was pretty comfortable. And it was great seeing everybody getting the chance to play. So that was nice.
yeah. For those who are not as familiar with spring sports, the schedule goes really quickly. So for this volleyball team, they're gonna have three games. 2 weeks after Pesach, they have three games in a row and one more game for the regular season. There's only 8 games, and it's all in a very tight time span.
Yeah.
So get used to that. And also for volleyball, you're right. I did watch the end of the Ramaz game, and that was an incredible game. I don't really watch much volleyball. and that's an understatement. I don't watch any volleyball, and I maybe tune into like the playoff games. That's it. That was an electric game, and my heart was pounding. I stopped studying for a math test to watch the end of that game. That was an incredible game, and shout out to the guys for pulling that one out.
Yeah,
Um,
well, what's also great about all their wins, oh, well, with the exception of the DRS game, I think there's only four, yeah, I think there's only four teams in their division, and they're 3-0 against Kushner, Frisch, and Ramaz. So those tiebreakers will be crucial. The only team they have yet to play in their division is SAR, so that's going to be an all-important one. But they're looking very good in terms of at least hosting a first round playoff game, which has never been done yet in the history of TBC volleyball. They've
yeah,
been in the playoffs both years, but they've had to go on the road both times.
and made a semifinal run 2 years ago.
Their
And
first year.
also, meaning, yeah, 2 years ago, I'm saying. This team also has a lighter schedule coming up. Ramaz and Frisch are two of the harder teams. They have SSLI, Flatbush, Magian, who I don't know much about, but I was told by Joseph Goldberg that a lot of those teams are not the strongest. And then they play SAR as well, who, of course, are very, very good. So
Well, they have
watch out
Manu
for
Webke from basketball, who everybody
Webke.
knows. So
Oh, yeah, he's going
if
to be a
you're able
monster.
to recruit your basketball players, you're good. But I think that's the
Yeah,
struggle that a lot of these volleyball teams have. They're not able to get their basketball players to commit to volleyball because
yeah,
these basketball
Kindler, right?
players grind all year. They want to continue to play in the spring.
Ayala played for us his junior year,
Once
quit
upon a
senior
time,
year.
right?
And so yeah, same with Levine. We're a basketball team. Not anymore. But that's I think we'll do it for volleyball. They have 4 games as I mentioned near after Pesach. We're not going to preview those. We'll probably have an episode before that. Oren, you want to take us through how the soccer teams are doing? Varsity, I'll just tell it briefly. Varsity soccer is 3-0. Defeating Kramaz and also one of the craziest games. We beat
Wild.
two crazy Ramaz games in the same night. So shout out Ramaz for giving us 2 runs for our money. Obviously they beat LL and JC, which I think we discussed previously. They're now 3-0. I'll just give you a little brief who they have coming up. Right, Frisch and SIR are always the creme de la creme of soccer, and they play both of them. We also play Heichal, MTA, and Kushner. We beat MTA early. No, we did not beat that. Sorry. MTA is 0-5, though. Heichal is
In
1
varsity, you
3, and
play
Kushner.
everyone once, I think.
Yes, yes. So the way, yeah, it's always Frisch, SAR, Ramaz, ABC, and Kushner on top, basically. So you want to take us through that Ramaz game and then also discuss JV soccer a
Yeah, well,
little
I
bit?
wasn't there.
Their
Yeah, well, I wasn't there, but they were down 5-0 they were down 5-0. Uh, no, they were down 2-0 at halftime. They were down 5-0 midway into the third quarter, and the fact that they just never gave up hope and they fought all the way back. Shout out to Tony Fleischman, Adiv Rimberg, Noam Bieler. Um, and this was a crucial game, in terms of now they're pretty much a lock to at least finish the season with a winning record of 5-3. They have two very easy home games against MTA and Heichal. So I think the goal before the season was always to go 6-2, to put yourself in a good spot for playoff positioning. And the Frisch SAR away games are always going to be the hardest games on their schedule. Those games will take place after Pesach vacation, and let the chips fall where they may. But Eyal Lemberger, he also deserves a special mention, stepping in goal. While Tzvi Gold continues to nurse his shoulder injury. And yeah, the guys are 3-0 going to break, and I think they're feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, so Tani Adiv, all the guys, and then on to JV soccer. Again, this goes back to the tight time frame. They haven't played a single game yet, but they have 7 games in 2 weeks. Genuinely, it's been 14 days from April 14th to April 28th. They play 7 games, and then 1 game after that against Frisch. It's tight schedule. You want to take us through who are really the stars of that team, so we can,
Yeah,
you know,
I think it worked out for the best when you think about it. We haven't really been able to have any practices with our squad all together. Jack Solomon was really not all in until after the JV hockey championship. I think he was afraid of getting hurt. I can't fault him for thinking that.
and they brought it
Um,
home, so we're good. We're good.
yeah. Um, Other stars on the team, David Gampel, Nate Brodsky, my two other captains, in addition to Solomon. Um, Freshman sensation Yoni Engelson, who injured his wrist, unfortunately, but hopefully he'll be ready to go once we kick off the season 2 days after break. And we have high expectations for our goalie, Ruven Zelig, who's extremely athletic. And if we're going to have any chance of winning games and keeping our opponents off the score sheet, it's going to run through Ruven Zelig in goal.
Yeah. So, and then I guess we have 4 other spring sports teams that I think only one of them has played. Flag football, the 3-1. We talked a little bit about with Faber. They beat MTA and Kushner again. And who are they playing tonight? They play two games tonight.
They
I
play
believe
Frisch and SAR, who they have yet to face off against this year.
the
Frisch and
Commissioners.
SAR are actually coming off a tournament playing in Atlanta. I don't know. I think SAR lost in the semis. I think Frisch came in second to Atlanta Jewish Academy, who hosts the tournament.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, I did not realize there's flag football tournaments. Oh my god,
yeah,
that's intense.
they have it every week. They have it every year during the same weekend of Sarachek, which I think is ill-advised. So yeah, obviously you have guys on our team like Yonatan Faber, uh, Shlomo Wenger, Yost Khan, who are Rafi Karasik, David Kranzler, who are obviously not going to be able to do a tournament in Atlanta the same weekend as Sarachek. So yeah.
Okay, and so those are gonna be tough games. Which is much as only team I think one of the only teams that we have that's not run through MIHSAL, if I'm correct.
Right, this is
That's
not MYHSAL recognized, but it's still a league with that's overseen by the Frisch and SAR coaches, in addition to Frisch and SAR having teams, MTA and Kushner are also in the league.
so there's five teams in the league.
Yeah.
Okay. Then moving on to the final three sports, all three sports have not started. I do not believe. Tennis. We want to talk about tennis. Who's on the team there? I think we have a
Yeah,
match
tennis
schedule.
coach Alex Kalb coming back for his second year at the helm. We actually have everybody returning from last year's squad except for Eyal Kinderlehrer. Um, we have a lot of potential between Natanel Kalb, um, Levi Eliason, Noah Schwabel from doubles last year, Aram Barzita, um, Gabriel Sachs, and I would highlight two newcomers in Naveh Hershtik and Ori Schloss, who has been playing a lot of tennis recently. And he says the softball is his number one, so that's good in your case. So if there's ever a conflict, softball will come first. But he apparently is also quite the tennis player.
Yeah, Ori Schloss is good at every single sport, and no one knows how he does it. Shout out to Ori Schloss, just most athletic, probably most underrated athletic kid in TABC, or maybe just most athletic kid because I don't think anyone can play like every sport like he does. So just shout out to him.
Yeah, and
You
I think if this team can make the playoffs, I think it'll be an accomplishment. I don't think TBC tennis has made the playoffs in years.
Yeah, and they look back, maybe Eliason, McCall, as you mentioned. Okay, so moving on to softball, as you mentioned, Ori Schloss, our starting pitcher,
I think
better
you
than every
take this
sport.
one. I think you take this one.
Yeah. We're looking forward to the season. This is our first year having. I have never played on varsity before. Last year we did not have a varsity team. We're back with zero seniors on the team, so we're going to be at a disadvantage. But I do not think that will affect us. So um, we have a lighter schedule than we've had in previous years because we just play more teams. So that gives us an advantage as opposed to previous years. I'm looking forward. We have a lot of baseball players who will a lot of Sunday games and a lot of Friday games. So that hopefully as few conflicts as possible. Zach Field, all stars, just the legend of the softball program, made baseball, but still softball at heart. Um, same with not same with Ori Schloss, legend Zach Marin, quit baseball so he could be on
Great
softball.
addition.
That's a real legendary move. Ori Schloss, obviously our pitcher, Kiva Schmidt, most underrated player in the YL. Just hits nukes. Ayala Lemberger, new addition to the team. Micha Block, dog, favorite member of the Stormcast, easily. And yeah, that's our softball. Schedule's not out. We're gonna have to go to Hillel and Shire Toga, which are harder teams. But other than that, I think we have a pretty light schedule. So I think we're gonna. I think we have a real shot at going 6-2, and if not 5-3, which puts us in a very good position to make the playoffs. Which I can't. When did varsity softball make the playoffs 2 years ago?
They did. My
Um,
first year, they made it with Rabbi Avner at the helm. They lost to Hillel in the first round. I think they finished 4-4 or 3-5-1, and they were able to make the playoffs. It was
yeah,
unbelievable.
makes sense. They're going to go to Hillel then, but yeah.
Right.
Um, and then moving on to our final sport, I believe, baseball. Baseball again. Tight time frame. They haven't started yet. Their first game will be they've scrimmaged. They've lost to SAR in a scrimmage. Like who cares? Apparently SAR is a kid that throws 90. So that's fun.
Yeah, from
Um,
everything I've heard, SAR is the team to beat this year.
yeah, they won the ship last year. I think a lot of their key pieces are coming back. They've really taken over Frisch's title as like best baseball team. What I've heard. Um, what are you hearing about the team? I hear some new additions to the team as well. So what are you hearing?
Obviously, we're going to be ride and die with Shia Bodner. He's a top ace, one of the best pitchers in the league. If he's hot, the team will be hot. If he's not throwing strikes, and the team is going to struggle all year. I think hitting continues to be a struggle of ours. In terms of new additions to the team, I think it's great to see Gabe Melnikov, Gis on the team. I think he'll be one of the first options off the bench in terms of base running. He's quite fast, quite athletic. Um, yeah, I would look to someone like Moshe Beowitz having more of a role this year than he did last year. Alan Rosner is another returning starter. So yeah, this will be a very interesting year. I think the goal should be, you know, getting again to the semifinals of the finals, and then seeing what can happen against a really strong team, such as SAR.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way it works in sports. It's very little margin for error. It's like what we say by JV. You play a lot of the top teams, not a lot of margin for error. So a lot of these CBC teams are probably, you tell me it's accurate, like very good, but they're not like the favorites. So that's going to be difficult because even then you're still going to go 5-3, 6-2, and you're going to have to play some tough teams in the playoffs. So that's my assessment. I don't know if that's true. And yeah,
Yeah,
that
I think they
any
have I think they have a lot of I think they actually have a hard schedule too. You know, they, in terms of non-conference, I think they only play one non-conference game, and they have to play Hank, and Hank have one of the best pitchers in the league, from my
wow,
understanding. But yeah, this will be. They also we don't have a lot of seniors on our team. We only have Jonathan Kaplan, Gis, who's a newcomer, and Shia Bodner. So I would look to juniors such as Itai Berkovitz, Adiv Rimberg, and Ezra Crone.
Jakob Bates.
Ezra Crone. Yep, Bates is a newcomer. Yehuda Noble to really step up and see where they can take this team. Ezra Crone had a really good year last year as a sophomore.
It's true. It's true. Losing a lot of big hitters from last year. Chai Forgash, Samuel Levine. So
Michael
we'll see where
Greenberg.
that goes. Yeah, Michael Greenberg, of course. Any other sports that we have neglected to talk about?
I think that covers everything. It's crazy, obviously, winter sports are the sports that get more attention when it comes to TBC fan culture, but there's more there's more spring sports, there's more teams that are in action right now compared to the winter.
Way more. It's a lot more compact as well. So there's going to be a lot more double headers, triple headers. Like it's going to be crazy some nights. We're going to have a lot of games to recap. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. Thank you. I forgot. I almost forgot our second sponsor. Thank you to Tikvaware, TBC's very own, for sponsoring. Tikvaware is a clothing brand built around the simple idea: hope. Hope for the inevitable coming of Mashiach. Tikva means hope in Hebrew, and the brand is inspired by the idea that we are currently living in the footsteps of Mashiach. So staying connected, staying aware, and remembering that everything is part of Hashem's plan. Tikva focuses on clean and minimal streetwear with a simple message. Nothing too loud, just comfortable, everyday pieces that look good and carry meaning. The goal is to make clothing that people actually want to wear. Just something simple, real, and meaningful. To visit the website, go to tikvawear.com or click the link in the description. And thank you all. Chakasher v'sameach. You too, Oren. Enjoy your break. Before things get pick up with JV soccer. You know one team you coach. And have a great day, everyone.